From Christmas until the season was suspended, Russell Westbrook was averaging roughly 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. And after Clint Capella was traded, his numbers shot up even more. Now the front office is shaken up with their longtime GM, Daryl Morey, out in Houston, and reports say that Westbrook wants out in Houston as well. Rumors around the league are making their rounds, and it brings us to wonder, will any of the teams talking trades with Russell Westbrook pull the trigger? Hola friends, welcome to Takes in Fuego. Today we look at the mysterious pairing of James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and if any team is going to move on the available player in Houston. Reports say James Harden is talking to the front office and is engaged with Houston's future. And reports say Russell Westbrook has talked to front office and, quote, wants out in Houston. And it's just come out that it's thought a couple of teams could actually get Russell Westbrook for the right price. What will the right price be for Houston? Houston definitely wants to build around James Harden and maybe rethink some of their choices, opposed to former GM Daryl Morey's choices, which involved having a 6'5" center and taking more 3-pointers than 2-pointers. The Houston Rockets became the first team in NBA history to do so. They won't be the last. But maybe they want to go in another direction completely. When they went up against the Los Angeles Lakers, while Houston was one of the best regular season teams, they had no shot. Anthony Davis and LeBron were way bigger than them, and the Rockets' 3-point production couldn't compete with the production of basically everything else, which the Lakers had the advantage in. So if Harden is your cornerstone, does Westbrook really make sense for them? A number of teams are reported to be interested in trading for Russell Westbrook, and Houston is apparently listening. The two teams linked to these discussions are the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Clippers. From a contract standpoint, both teams would have to match Westbrook's $40 million contract, making it a bit challenging for both sides. For the Knicks, it appears this trade would have to include Randall making $18 million a year, along with some other contracts. Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, Taj Gibson all make between $4 and $10 million, so a number of these contracts would need to be included, but would still barely reach the mark with say 4 of these players. I would assume RJ Barrett is off the table on this one, right James Dolan? On Houston's side, if they can get Randall, Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr., and a draft pick, you could have some nice complementary pieces alongside James Harden. You would finally have an actual big again with Julius Randle, and with that draft pick, they should be able to find a nice rotation player. If the Clippers decide to trade for Russell Westbrook, this becomes interesting as well. Only 2 players make over $15 million on that team, meaning they would need to either piece together a bunch of players like Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, Zubac, and someone like Magruder as a cap filler, or they would have to put Paul George on the table. Both teams will look completely different in either scenario. If you end up with Paul George, Kawhi, and Russell Westbrook on the same team, if nothing else, it will be incredible to watch. 3 of the top 20 or so players in the league all on the same team together, but chemistry-wise with all 3 of them offensively, we would see how that works out. In this scenario, Houston would take back a few of their former players with Patrick Beverley and Lou Williams alongside Zubac. This would cement Harden as a primary ball handler in Houston alongside these mostly off-ball counterparts. If Paul George is on the table, then we have a blockbuster, an offense that will be controlled by Westbrook and Kawhi in Los Angeles, and an incredible competitor with Russell Westbrook leading the way. For Houston, James Harden and Paul George would be incredible teammates. Harden the primary playmaker, Paul George spacing the floor and shooting the open threes created by Harden, or making secondary plays. George shot 41% from 3 last year. Will any of these trades actually happen? Who knows, but the rumor is Westbrook is on the table and the Rockets are listening. For more videos, including the potential Paul George trade, check out the video on the screen and be sure to subscribe for more NBA trade rumors.